Hi, I'm Paul Brodie. We're back in my shop. We have a guy called Mitch behind the cameras. Thank you. And we're working on the Excelsior. We're gonna see if we can get the front part of the frame all tacked up today. So I'll show you a few things. Thanks for tuning in. In the last video, we spent quite a few hours on the mill working on what I call the head tube casting. And we started boring. And in the time since you have been away, I finished all of the machining, so you can see the inside. So there's the bores ready for the roller bearings. It's a tapered bearing. And I also bored out these because that's where the tubes go into. And so we're going to set this up on the jig. It took me a little while to figure out how the jig works because my notes weren't all that great. And it's been 11 years. I thought it was 13 years, but it's been 11 years since I did the last one of these. And to start with, I even had the jig upside down. So that shows you that, you know, the memory is not great after over a decade. Anyway, I'll show you how this all fits together. And then we'll do a little tacking, and then we have to put on the, I'll just show you this right now. So this is the engine mounts that go onto the bottom bracket. That's what they look like. And this is what I start with. We got these water jet cut. You can see it's still a little rust there. And then I put it up on the mill in the rotary table, and I make a little a small cut here. And the reason of that cut is because I need to round it so it tells me how much to file. Can you see how it's rounded? It's being polished a little bit. So what I do is I put it in the vise like this, and then I take my big file, this one, and if you look what I do, I'll just show you really quickly. And you see that lip? I'm looking at that lip as I'm filing. And when the file goes down to that lip, I know that I've gone far enough. There you go. So that's what I do. That's how I get that shape, because this is supposed to be a casting. This and the bottom bracket down there, it's supposed to be a casting, but I wasn't going to go to the expense of making a casting for a dozen pieces. So I make it out of just what I have, and that's how it works. All right, so I'm going to set this up over here. Goes like that. I've got this as a hold down so it doesn't move. So it doesn't move. And then here's the tubes. You can see the wall thickness. It's, what is that? At least 1/8 of an inch. And then I put this in like this. And then this guy goes like that. You have to turn it a little bit so the miter fits up. And that goes like that. So part of my measurements here, can you see this? I found my notes from last time. Okay, the top rear of the steer tube rod, that's this, down to the dropout, 45.5 inches. So let's see how it works out. You're going to need to zoom in there, Mitch. See that line there? That's the center line. There we go. We got very close to 45.5 inches. So that's the correct angle. So So what's going to happen is we'll tack this next. We'll do a TIG tack, and then you see how this can rock back and forth like that. That's what this is for. This is 1.1 inches. That's the spacing in there. And then I'm going to put some, I clamp that, and then I put a couple plates on either side here. And that holds the top tube. I'll call this the top tube in the right location, because otherwise, if it's off to one side or the other, that means the oil tank and the gas tank won't be centered. So there's a lot of little things I have to look at and make sure I got the right details. Okay, so I'll get the plates, and then we'll do a little TIG tack. And this has to come down just a little bit, so. That looks good. So we gotta spin this around now so I can get to the other side. So I don't have anywhere to hold my hand here. That's part of it. Okay. I stuck the tungsten. Okay. But it's tacked, so that's good. Okay, so that's the first part, which is tacked. Now we have to add the engine mounts onto the bottom bracket here. So we have to flip this up and hold it up somehow. I can't remember what I did 11 years ago. Don't know. Anyway, we're moving on to stage 2. Out of position welding, that's what happens a lot when you're working on things like this and you don't have a good place to rest your arm or something's in the way. It's not like having nice stuff on a bench. All right, we got the motor mounts tacked on. So this is stage 2. Stage 3, we take the frame out of here. We bring the motor down. We put the frame onto the motor, and then we do the front part, the front engine mount. Oh, it's dusty. What we have here is Excelsior engine number 6. So this will be Excelsior number 6. And we're going to put the frame on here. We have some mounting bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can do the front part of the frame, because then everything will be held. And then I also have to check and see that the tube is horizontal with the cam towers, because that's good for how the oil tank and the gas tank sit on the frame as well. So there's a few things I have to check, but this is the final stage of getting the frame assembled. And then it has to be brazed up. So get the bolts and put it on. Let's see if I still know what I'm doing. Oh, look at that. Just hit it with your fist. Go in there. Okay, so a little bit of movement. That's what I want. Okay, I'll put the nuts on. I'm supposed to have a gap of 3/16 of an inch here. So I can put in some spaces, and then that's going to hold it. So first we'll get these nuts done up a little bit. It's kind of exciting. I haven't done this for a very long time. Okay, those are snug. So what I got here is the front engine plates, and this is what holds the magneto, because the magneto goes on right on here. I have to change this. This was going to be for another project, so I'll put this back to standard. And these are the bolts. These are the 7/16 bolts. Okay, so these nuts are ones that I made in the shop, and the washers started out larger and they had a smaller hole in there, so I have to machine the washers because I can't buy the exact washers that I want. There's a lot of little things on this bike that I couldn't buy, and I knew what I wanted, so I made them. And the actual shafts and the threads, I got them CNC machined. There was a local shop over in Maple Ridge, and they did a really nice job. So that's how that goes. All right. So that's where this comes in. Remember, maybe you don't, last episode I had this on the mill and I was machining it. So that goes right there. And then this tube okay, look at the other bike. It goes like that. So what it looks like is that this is a little bit too long here. Anyway, that's what we have to do now. We have to make this fit. Okay, so we don't have the right angle here. Okay, so I have to change the angle somehow. So can you see what's going on here? This is somehow in the bend here, it's not the right angle. So I need to either add some bend in here or take some bend out of here. Should I flip a coin? What I'm doing here, I have to bend this out, but it's got to go about 1/4 of an inch or so, I think. It's kind of hard to tell. So I put my vernier there, and then I add 1/4 about, add a little bit more. So I'm going to bend it. I'm going to heat it. Going to put a tube on here and pull it. And when it's that much, I think I'm okay. There we go. I got a number 4 tip here. Should be pretty hot. So we need to see a dull red. That's what I'm looking for. I can see a little bit of red now. I can feel that bend. Oh, look at that. Okay, so I have to cool this down. I'm gonna hold it in the vise, use the vise like a heat sink, and then we'll go back on the frame and engine and see how it all fits. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, okay. I think we're looking good. Okay. That's a relief. Let me tell you. I've done things like that where I bend things the wrong way or get mixed up, and not a good feeling. But I've heard that the only person who doesn't make a mistake is the person who never does anything. So that's not a good situation either. It fits. It's good. Okay, a little tig-tacking here. And then basically the motor is all tacked up. It just has to be brazed. It's a good step. So this is step 3 of assembling the front part of an Excelsior frame. That's our video for today. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed me working on the Excelsior. It's been 11 years. Got to keep that in mind. Mitch and I like coffees. If you buy us coffees, it really helps the channel a lot. Please subscribe, tell your friends. Take care. See you next time.